Hi, you're welcome to our channel. Happy new month. You're welcome to the month of September. I warmly welcome you here, and I pray that this month will be one of the best months you've had in the year 2022 thus. Okay, so my name is Maria Ahunaya. I'm introducing myself to you, and I am many things. Okay, mommy of one, a toddler that will soon be two, architect, photographer, motherhood enthusiast. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, many things. And generally on this channel for a while now, we have been sharing, so it's not just me, because you have also been sharing with me. We've been talking together about how we are navigating our new roles as parents. Any new parent that is on here can testify to that. So one of the things that I just navigated is taking my son to school, or starting my son in preschool. And I'd like to share that experience with you, and hopefully it can help you when you are taking your own toddler to school, okay, or to preschool. So September is the start of a new academic session or year for most people in different parts of the world. And preschoolers, toddlers are not left out of this mix. In Nigeria, academic calendars for many schools begin in September. Many schools that are not tertiary institutions, so primary schools, crèche, secondary schools, etc., they begin their new academic year in September. So typically, parents start their academic journey for their toddlers in this month, right? Don't okay, so let me first of all ask, how do you feel about taking your toddler to school? How does it make you feel? How do you feel about it? Don't fret, okay? Don't fret. I was a little bit confused when it came to choosing the best school or the best place for my child, but I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I learned, both from people and both from myself, from seeing things now that my son has gone to school, and I hope that it will help you. My son went to school last term, which is third term of the academic. We have 3 terms in the academic calendar, so he went to school third term, and there was a reason why. So he was born in almost at the end of 2020. So as at the time that we went to make inquiries, it was I went to make inquiries. I like doing things early, so I went to make inquiries about the schools that he would go to last term in preparation for this term. Some people do it a bit later. I have friends that are just looking for schools, but I just personally just like to do things early. So I went to the school then and discovered that his age range, or those that were born in that year 2020, were already in school and in session, and I was advised to enroll him. So I did as I was advised, and I enrolled him third term of the semester. Of course, he seemed as if he was lacking behind, but it was one of the best things that I did for Joshua, and I will explain it further on in the video, okay? So what are some of the things that I would advise you to do when you're looking to put your child in school? I think the first thing I would advise you to do is to pray. You cannot be overemphasized on this channel. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the master key. Jesus started with prayers. He ended with prayers. Prayer is the master key. If you're starting your journey in putting your child in school, I would advise you that you should pray about it. Okay, God, this is my toddler. I want to take this child to school. Commit your ways into the hands of the Lord, and He will make your path straight. He will direct you. Your heart will know when you get to the school, okay, this is the child. This is the school for my child. Just trust God and trust His leading. But first of all, commit that work or that phase into God's hands, okay? Now, the second thing that you'll be required to do is definitely to start doing your research. I started doing my research early, and that's how come I knew that my son was even supposed to be in school. Maybe I didn't even start early enough, who knows. But Do your research. Check within your proximity, because it is advisable that you enroll your child, especially your toddlers, in a school that is within your vicinity, whether it's your home vicinity or it's your work vicinity. Basically, it's so that if there's an emergency, you can easily get to your child. If there is anything, you can easily get to your child. If you're dropping off the child is easy, you can do it on time, because also going to school on time helps that child, and picking up that child on time also helps that child. So you want to do your research and note the schools that are within your vicinity. After you've noted them, then you're going to be checking for some things, which I will share very shortly. But before that, I want you to also note some things about your child before you begin to go to the schools for touring and, evaluating or analyzing. So what are things that you want to note about your child? Number one, you want to note what position your child is in the family. Children that are firstborns typically seem to be, in quotes, slower learners is what I've seen. Or they pick up, in quotes, slower than children who are younger siblings. They can either be maybe second, third. They're just younger siblings of older children or an older child. The reason is because having the way you talk as adults, yes, it helps. Just talk normal talk to them. But there's just something that seeing another child or someone within your child, there's something that it does that helps children. There's something that it does, and that's why I said one of the best things I did was to enroll Joshua when I was advised to. I noticed that his communication is much better. In just 3 months, Joshua started talking, started saying things like mama, dada, hello, bye-bye, and started understanding things, also because of the kind of school that it is. It's kind of Montessori, so they send him on errand in school, so we send him on errand at home, and he understands. So his communication got clearer, and his attitude also, he seems a bit more mature. Even some of our family friends have said that, Joshua seems a bit more mature since starting school. So if your child is the first child, like my son is, I would advise you to try as much as possible to take them to school at the earliest age that they could start. And we're going to talk about the age that a toddler should start school, but not in this video, in another video. Okay, so the earliest age that they can start, if your child is the first child. If your child is not the first child, then you can still chill. I think you can still chill. Okay, so moving forward, another thing I want you to take into consideration, and I heard this from one of the educational professionals that I follow, Wendy Ologe, is the gender of your child. When you're selecting a school for your child, the gender of your child is very important. Generally, yes, there's gender equality as when children are children. There's more gender equality than when they are grown. But generally, boys are said to be rougher and more sporty than girls are. They are more energetic or something than girls are. So boys require a school that has lots of space. Even girls do as well. So that was one of the determinants for me. I had a school that had near me, that wasn't too far away from my house, that had very, very good academic excellence records. But the compound was very small, and I just no, this is not the place for my child. This is not the place for Joshua. So you can also take that into consideration. What gender is your child? Is your child a female or a male child? If it's a male child, then I would advise you take your child to a school that is spacious, and then their curriculum accommodates a lot of sporting activities and some other skill building, maybe like taekwondo and things like that. And finally, for your child, I want you, because time is running fast and I'm talking a lot, but they're cogent, they're important things. Finally, for your child, I want you to note what to have studied them and know whether they are neurodivergent or not. So neurodivergent people are people whose brains kind of work and function a little bit more differently than, or more uniquely than, the average person. So they're neurodivergent, which is what they are called, and they are neurotypical people. I even within my family, the family I came to find married my husband, some of my siblings are neurodivergent. My eldest brother had a test and he was confirmed, and I think my youngest, my sister, she falls on some of those, on that spectrum. So it's nice if you have an idea if your child is neurodivergent, so that you are even telling the school, do they understand what it is? Do they understand what who neurodivergents are? You know, there are different types of neurodivergence, and there are also different spectrums within those types. There are people who are dyslexic, who have dyslexia, there are people who are autistic, there are people who are dyspraxic. You know, there are different types of neurodivergence, and they fall into different spectrums. So you want to, if you notice there are different resources online, if you notice that your child is a bit different from other children and doing some things that are a bit different, maybe lines up his toy in a particular way, doesn't look at you when you're talking to him, does repetitive sounds in a particular way or something, if you're noticing anything different, it's not for you to fear. A good number of neurodivergent people are actually do very well off in life. In fact, very well off. Some of them, a good percentage of them are geniuses in their own rights, right? So it's not for you to be afraid, but it's for you to understand and to go to a community that understands them as well, because it's very helpful. There's a movie I watched some time back when I was in uni, and it really opened my eyes to what a good school could do for a neurodivergent child. And that movie is an Indian film, like Stars on Earth or something like that, like stars in the sky, like stars on earth. If you want to understand it, just try to look for that movie. It will explain everything to you. The guy was dyslexic, and he could see the pattern in the child. So the way the child was assimilating words and numbers was very different from his classmates. So the parents thought the boy was unserious, but the boy wasn't unserious. The boy was just neurodivergent. Okay, so this will help, and you can notice it even from when a child is a child. You can notice those things, and it will help. Now, moving on to things that you should check for after you've noted these things in your own child that will help you influence where you're going to. Okay, you should also take into consideration some of the things that I will share shortly. So the first thing that I will share that I looked out for when I was going to school, from school to school, was academic excellence. As I said, there was a school that was, the records of that school was badass in my estates. The records of the school was badass, one of the best schools here in PH. But I didn't like the space of the school, neither did I like the ambience. So I didn't like that the school was small, so I didn't take my son there. Having said this, the best school or the most popular school in your vicinity or in your town is not necessarily the best school for your child. The best school that your own friend or your friend's toddler's child or your friend's toddler is attending is not necessarily the best school for your child. You are the best advocate for your child. You will always be the best advocate for your child, not just academically, even emotionally. When the child starts school, you're going to be the child's best advocate. An advocate is like a lawyer, is like someone that, you know, looks out for the best for their clients. So you're your child's best advocate. So I want you to put your mind and soul into this task ahead. So academic excellence is something that I really look out for. And as much as it wasn't the ultimate determinant for my child's final score, it was number one. It was one of the things that I was really checking. How are they doing? What are they teaching? What is the curriculum like? What are the students that have left, or the pupils that have left this place? What are they generally like? And I'm not just talking about academic excellence. I'm also talking about discipline. I'm also talking about how vast they are in the things that they have gotten from school, how skilled they are. Can they swim? Are they good in other languages, musical talents, things like that? And there are things that you're also going to talk about. So general academic and behavioral excellence is top of the list for me. Now, number two thing that I was looking out for was the class to teacher ratio. I am very particular about how many people are in my child's class and how much attention my child will be getting. So another thing that discouraged me from the school with the very serious academic excellence was that there were 20 students in the class to one teacher. But this new school that I'm taking, or this school that I'm taking Joshua to now, they have a teacher, 2 minders, and 10 students in class, every class. And I'm like, amazing, fabulous. So you want a school that has at least maybe 1 teacher and 1 assistant teacher, or 1 minder, to about 15 students ratio, and not more. That's just my own personal advice, and that is the standard in, I think, Canada. So it's something that I would just advise. The class ratio should not be so much to the teachers, or to the teacher. 1 teacher to 15 students is the ratio in Canada. So I would say 1 teacher, 1 minder to 15 students. Yeah, moving on. The next thing that was priority for me, and it should be more priority for parents who are parents to girl children than boy children, is hygiene, health, cleanliness, and safety. Now, when it comes to hygiene, I'm not just going there and looking at the toilets, which is one thing I did when I got to Joshua's school. I even snapped the toilets, and they were like, I'm like, I hope they have toilets that had their sizes. So I went, I saw it. Okay, the toilet was their size. The toilets were smelling clean. In fact, one thing is my child smells sanitary anytime he's coming out of school. He smells so clean. So the school was clean. The school was clean, like clean. The ambience was nice. Cleanliness, and I'm not just talking about the cleanness of the school now. Do you teach the children cleanliness? When they come back from playing, do they wash their hands? Especially with the recent epidemic and pandemic episodes that we've seen, cleanliness and hygiene is something that I would like for them to instill and practice wherever my child is going. Then health and safety also. Health and safety is in different dimensions. I don't even know where to start, but health and safety also applies to how many teachers are in class that can mind the children. Health and safety in terms of, do they understand the health and safety that a child requires? Do they know how to do, there's something that they call, it's not first aid, is it CPR now, in case the child is choking? All those things, they're just different things. I even asked that, do they have like all this stash of medicine or something? Or they were the ones that told me that they have, there's something that popped up on my screen, sorry, that they have stashes of medicine for like first aid if the child is sick and all that. So I noticed that the school, prioritized health and safety in different forms. They have all this where you gather if there's a fire, all those kind of things. And so health and safety is also very important. Also in health and safety, my school didn't have it, but I would advise, do they have cameras in the school? Yeah, do they have cameras so that you can replay? There was an episode that my son had, there was one time he came back home with very serious scratches, and the teacher said, oh, it was him that scratched himself. I said, Joshua has been in the house for how many years? He has never scratched. For how many months? He has never scratched himself. I said, this is not Joshua, but I let it slide. Then the next time he came back with deeper bruises, as in he even still has the scar on his face now, deeper bruises. And I'm like, no fringing way, this is not Joshua. This is not Joshua. And the teacher said, okay, yeah, it's true. I even had to go back because they didn't tell me as soon as I got to school. He made me so angry. It was when I got to the car, I noticed his face. I said, no, this is not Joshua. And now told me, okay, so it was one of his classmates that did it to him, pinned him down and scratched his face. And I'm like, oh my days, this is why you guys need to have cameras so that we can see. That's also part of health and safety, so you can see what's happening with your child so that they don't give you a child and they cannot explain what happened to the child. So another thing, I've done so much on health and safety. Another thing that I checked for, that I would check for, is the curriculum, and I've been talking about that. So it's not just academic excellence that is important for me. Curriculum was also important for me. What are the extracurricular activities or curriculum that you have? What are the other things that you're teaching the children? And this school had quite a number, thank God. There's arts. There's a lot of arts that they teach the children. There's a lot of musical exploration that they have with the children, but much later. They do swimming class, they take swimming classes, they take horse riding, all those kind of things. I'm like, I like it, tush things, but I didn't do these things where you do it. Phonetics class, all those kind of. I did phonetics class though when I was at Kikotu. Kikotu Memorial School. Hiya if you're from Kikotu. So we did some of those things. In fact, we even had, I was in the first aid group, and there was Girl Scout, there was boy. I don't know if they have those things now, but there's Taekwondo in Joshua School. So I'm happy with some of the extracurricular activities they have. Some of those things just help, it helps their communication, boosts their confidence. Sports, very helpful. So you want to go to a school that has a broad spectrum in the extracurricular activity area, not just in their curriculum, because some of the teachers will not necessarily even share the child's curriculum and how they teach and all those things with you. That's like trade secret, but you still want to have an idea what your child will be learning, right? So another thing that was very important to me was family support. I'm a very, 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 very particular mom, and I'm so happy with this school because they met that need. A school that encourages you to be in your child's life, a school that keeps you up to date, a school that encourages, interaction, teacher, parent, and child interaction. That triangle is a good school. There are some schools that are not like that. So in Joshua School, we have a daily communication and feedback book where they write, oh, this is what Joshua did today, this is this, that is that. We have a parents group on WhatsApp that they send pictures from time to time, maybe at the end of the week, of what your child was doing, different children with different pictures. So there's a very strong family support system. There's a very, very strong family and school communication system that is going on, and I appreciate it very much. And I think it's something that you should look out for. You should ask them, how is your family support system like? How do you guys encourage or interact with the parents and encourage parent-children interaction? They give assignments that I know that my son cannot do, but it's basically so that you can be involved and engaged. And there's a assignment feedback book. Okay, parents, how did it go? How did your child do? I don't know, they're just a progressive communication that they have with the parents that I like. Okay, another thing that you want to look out for is the teacher-student interaction. And I when you go to the school, are the children subdued or are they respectful? Respectful is different from subdued. If the children are happy, they greet you happily, they look like they are happy with school, that means the teachers are generally doing a good job. So before you take your child, just say, can I peep into the classes, study how the children are with the teachers. Because sometimes some parents, is one person that is speaking to you and you're so blown by that parent or by that teacher. I mean, that teacher is not the only person that is going to teach your child, and your child is not just going to be in one teacher's class. The child is going to be in different teachers' classes as time goes on. You're not going to be carrying a teacher with your child. So you want to make sure that generally most of the teachers in the school are kind, they are nice, and they know what they're doing. Which takes me to teacher training. This one I didn't ask, and this one I didn't do. This one I learned along the way. Teacher training, you want to ask the school and ask the principal, or ask when you're making inquiries, how is the training and development of teachers in this school? What is the minimum requirement for a teacher to teach my child in this school? I still haven't even asked those questions, but it's necessary. What's the minimum requirement for a teacher to teach my child in this school? So that you know who is teaching your child. What's the minimum qualification? Okay, so how do they update themselves? Do you guys do teacher training, things like that? Because the more updated your teacher is, the more they can even understand some of these things, all this neurodivergent, neuro this, whatever that is. It comes with exposure. So the more exposed your teachers are, is what I'm saying, the more exposed your child will be as well. And there are different tips, but we're rounding off. Another thing you may want to also check, I don't know how possible this is the happiness of the teachers. Happiness of teachers can be rated from knowing how long they have stayed in the school. If you have a school that treats the teachers well, then it means the school will also care for the students or the pupils in the school. So if you're stylishly making inquiries, how long have you stayed, how long have you been teaching here, how long have you been teaching generally, and then you can understand, or you can compare, oh, this person has been here for a long time, that means definitely this person likes this school, this person is likes what he or she is doing. That's what you get from how long have you been teaching, and then how long have you been teaching here. It will expose you to, oh, this person likes this school, or this person just got here. And then maybe when you make inquiries all around, they're all just getting here, then maybe that's a red flag for you, if you get what I mean. But if they're all the most of the teachers there have been long standing, then maybe that's a thumbs up that, oh, this school is a good school. Finally, ambience. Ambience for me is very important. Ambience, I mentioned a bit of it in the cleanliness and hygiene. How is the ambience of the school? Lighting. I'm an architect, so some of these things really matter to me. The lighting of the school, the furniture in the school, the colors in the school. How is the ambience? You as the parents, are you elated entering into the space of the school? How much more your child? There were other little things here and there for me. I wanted a school that would instill discipline in my child, but not beating them. I don't want a school that was beating. I was also against anti-bullying, not just from students, but also from teachers. And this school that I'm in ensured me that they only spank a child when the child is deserving of it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Also, the educational system that they use in the school. This one I didn't really ask, but I just noticed. So there are different educational systems all over the world. There's the Montessori system, there's the Waldorf system, there's the traditional system, and different systems are useful in their own way. So you want to be checking what educational system is the school using and what philosophy is the school using. Does it match your own philosophy? Does it match your own values? Does it match the educational systems that you have thought of in your head? I'm a very Montessori-like person, or what I want. I may not be doing it fully. I may be mixing it with traditional, but I still like the Montessori idea where the child's able to do a lot of things for themselves, and so I was looking out for that. In fact, I didn't want to take my child to a school where they were not wearing uniform and doing like a proper student, no matter how young they were, right? So if that is your kind of thing, if you're a person who has educational systems or values or principles or philosophies, then you want to be checking that the school you're taking your child to has a similar one as you do. I've said a lot of things in this video, and I hope that you have learned as much as I have, or as much as I have poured out. If you have more things to add, please feel free to add them in the comments section below. I wish you and your toddler an amazing new academic session. I wish you grace, and I pray that God will provide for you and your family in every single way, that God will equip you with everything that you need. He will furnish you in abundance with everything that you need to live life fully, maximally, and abundantly. Amen. So I want to introduce to you very quickly, before I get off your screen, a series that I'm about to start that is called Mommy's Time Out with Jesus, and I want to start that series on Sunday. So when I was a new mom, I noticed that there were times when I would feel lonely at home when my husband goes to church, and I would feel lonely, and I would want someone to stay in the house with me, or I want the television to be speaking to my needs, the message on the screen to speak to my needs. But I didn't really find anything tailored for new moms specifically. So I'm taking up that challenge, and I hope that I can bring to you some messages, from the abundance that God has given me, that will be helpful to you on a Sunday morning. So this Sunday, look out and watch out for that. God help, and God willing, God help us. Yeah, we've come to the end of today's session. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, please like, please share, please subscribe. This is helpful information. and I'm trying my best so that I can keep doing it. So please subscribe to encourage. Thank you so much for staying this long. I love you, and I will see you next week.